Hey, good afternoon, team. Jim Cripps here with the Charge Forward podcast, coming to you from Hit Lab Studios here in Nashville, Tennessee. Now, I have something different for you today. This is a look back over the past year. So we've had a year's worth of episodes, and we've had some amazing guests on this show. So without any further ado, I want to dive in. So then we had Larry Smeto on. Larry is, I don't even know what words to describe Larry. I'm so thankful for Larry because I actually got kicked out of one of Larry's bowling centers 20-something years ago. Now, to paint this picture, Larry is 84 years old, still shows up to work 6 days a week, owns 18 locations, 18 bowling centers, and those bowling centers are usually 2 or 3 different businesses because you have the bar, you have a restaurant, you have a fun center, you have bowling, all those things under one roof. And he's still kicking butt and taking names. But it's just great to hear his story, how, he went from being a high school coach, then a college coach at Vanderbilt, then he and Conway Twitty and a couple of others really kind of putting in together and getting a Major League Baseball here back in Nashville, and then worked for the Rangers for some time, then came back and was back at the Sounds, exited the Sounds, and then now owns 18 bowling centers. And how passionate he and his family are about the sport of bowling, and how passionate they are not just cashing in and taking the easy way out, but they want to continue to foster a great place for young bowlers to come in and experience the sport of bowling. So, Larry, hats off to you. Thank you so much for spending some time with us. Check out that story and just see how much he lights up when he talks about his wonderful wife. Just a great family.
Try to do a little paperwork at home.
Sure. But there's plenty of people that would say, I'm going to put my feet up. But I think it's that work ethic. I think it's the passion that drives you is what keeps you going.
Well, I've had opportunity to sell that company Bolero now. They've been trying to buy everybody. Mm-hmm. And I've known the head of Bolero since he only owned one center. Mm-hmm. Very smart man, Tom Shannon. But I've turned him down twice. Next year I could have walked away with a whole bunch of money. But I'd like to see my company survive after I'm long gone. Sure. And I think it means so much to, number one, it would disrupt my 500 and some odd employees that count on us for a paycheck.
Sure.
They've been loyal to me. Why shouldn't I be loyal to them?
That's right. Then we had Mr. Jordan Grubbs on the show. So if you have a business, if you're doing social media content, that kind of thing, and maybe you're not quite ready for a podcast, maybe you're not quite ready for consulting work to create more content, but you just want some tips and tricks, check out that episode with Miss Jordan Grubbs because she's fantastic. She comes from a family of, I don't want to say serial entrepreneurs, but they're all entrepreneurs. And so she was very forward thinking. When she was in college, she was already building her business, so that when she graduated college, she just walked into continuing and growing her business, and it's great to see.
But that is the number one thing. If you cannot get that down, you have no business trying to learn these expert level tips because you're not going to use them. You have to be consistent online. And if you can't be consistent, but you need the social media in your life, that's where outside help comes in. That's where a freelancer, that's where an agency, that's where hiring somebody comes in. Another mistake I see, if you're a brick and mortar business and don't have at least the city you're in your bio, that always throws me off too, because I all the time I'm scrolling, I'm like, oh, this looks like a cool place, I wonder where they are. Click, don't see it, don't follow, because I don't know. So if you're brick and mortar and rely on local business foot traffic, or you're like a photographer wanting like Nashville clients, have your service area in your bio on social media somewhere, easily seen, easily accessible.
That's a great tip. That's a great tip. What is something else that you see is just overlooked?
It's really easy to... let me think real quick. I'm sorry. I'll try not to do like 3 minutes of this. Yeah. I think what's overlooked is trying to be too polished online. There was a time a couple years ago where being the most aesthetic and the most beautiful and having the most beautifully curated feed was like the thing to do. And I think a lot of people are still stuck in that.
Episode 37, I had both Nick Hyder and Clayton Geyser on, and that's an interesting mix. We do great business together. So Clayton is a business partner of mine. Nick and I do a lot of business together, and it was great us all just being in the same room, because the energy that's kind of created in that space, and the ideas that we come up with, and the kind of being able to flesh out whether something's a good idea or a bad idea, just amazing. And I learn something every time I'm in the room with those guys, and they say the same thing. So who do you have in your world that kind of challenges you or fosters that creative environment? Because I would encourage you to find people that do that for you and with you, because I got to say that is absolutely the case with both Nick Hyder and Clayton Geyser. It's just fun.
And that is, whether it's AI or data, at the end of the day, it's communication between humans. And you make sure that is front and center, that these are people. Yeah. that are being considered here, that are on the line here. These are all data. It's on a spreadsheet, and it's names and all this, birthdays and all this other stuff, but it's people. And AI is, so you guys have a unique way of humanizing something that is quickly forgotten, that there's humans involved.
Right. Well, I mean, we're talking about AI doing prospecting. I think the timing factor is going to be huge. You know what I mean? So making sure that it's reaching out when it's supposed to, and all those things that make humans good with it and also make humans bad, it's going to pick up on those, it's going to leave off the shortcomings, and it's going to add something new. So with that, you've got to be very deliberate and intentional in who it's reaching out to, what it's trying to accomplish, what the main goal is. Does that make sense?
Then I had Mr. Eddie Knight. Eddie is he operates in the insurance space as well as the financial space, and just kind of picking his brain on finances and how he teaches people about money. And I have my own perspective. We argue a little bit from time to time, just because I've been all the way down the Dave Ramsey rabbit hole, and I am so thankful that we did. My wife and I have done every course that Dave Ramsey offers, and we are absolutely better for it. I also do see, other financial advisors. I do see their points as well, and I think at some point a hybrid is probably the best fit for most people. But just how Eddie and his family raise their kids, how they look at money, how they think about things, it's just, they're great people. We're very in tune with them, and I love referring people to Eddie and his company. They're just great people. And so if you want to learn more about money, absolutely dive into that. And he's had some really tough experiences when it comes to life insurance. And some of those have turned out well, meaning he recommended a certain amount of coverage. They did that, and good, bad, or ugly, that person did expire. And in one scenario, he tells the tale of when he was able to essentially present them with that check, and how it made a very tough situation much, much easier. And then also he's been in those situations where they turned down coverage, and then something happened and it did not turn out so well. And so that's a tough one to watch, but I guarantee you it's worth your time. So check out Eddie Knight.
But finding an advisor that is looking for the potential lost places in your world and plugging the holes in the bucket, if you will. I mean, it doesn't matter. You can have the greatest rate of return in the world, but if there's holes in your bucket and you're losing more water than you're putting in, the bucket's never going to fill up. You're never going to achieve those goals. So we find, again, goes back to that balance. If we make sure that we're avoiding unnecessary things that disrupt our financial world, whether it's taxes, fees, it's amazing when we've gone through planning process with people, the stuff that they uncover, and I'm like, hey, what's this all about? And they're like, oh, that's something I bought back, when I was 24 or 25 years old at my first job. And I'm like, well, do you know what it does? And they're like, I don't know, can you tell me?
Yeah.
It's amazing how many times that happens 20 years down the road, and they've been spending, a couple $100 a year on it. And it's like, well, does that really add up? It does eventually.
Especially with compound interest.
Oh, goodness. It's like, well, that little $500 a year mistake, if you factor in inflation, the rate of, if you'd have kept it in your world, you could have done something with it to grow wealth. That number gets really big really fast.
Oh my gosh. This one was so much fun. So Holly Hartley of Groom Garage, she was on the show, and so Holly goes to the same CrossFit gym that I do. Her fiance Will is at the same CrossFit gym. In fact, it was really Sylvia that talked Holly into doing the show, and it was a fantastic episode. I learned things about Holly that I didn't know. I didn't know that she started her first business when she was 23 years old, and she exited that business at 33 years old, and she moved to Tennessee, and then right in the middle of COVID, and really kind of started dog grooming again out of just an ability or want to help her neighbors. And now she's got another thriving business. She's also a education center, so she teaches dog grooming, and she's just got an amazing group that works with her. Her and Will and their family, they're all passionate about health, and that they pay attention to growing and strengthening their body, and also kind of looking at life that same way. And I think of all the episodes that we've done, that one resulted in the most clips. Not necessarily the highest viewed clips, but the most clips that people loved. So it's just a great episode to have Miss Holly on, and we talked business, and we talked. My favorite line that she shared was humanity over vanity, talking about how sometimes what an owner wants their dog to look like is not the right fit or is not good for the animal, and they won't do that. And just the love that they have for pets in general, it's fantastic. You should follow them on social media. Nobody ever gets mad at a good puppy video, so or a good puppy picture. So check out Groom Garage on social media.
Something that's important to me is humanity over vanity, right? So we need to do what's best for the dogs, period.
Oh, please say that again.
Humanity over vanity.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if a dog, and there's situations where we'll get a dog in and, it's matted. It hasn't been groomed in a long time, and they show you a picture, they want it fluffy and, well, we need to do a fresh start. This dog is not, it's a past due, and let's do what we need to do for the dog's health and the dog's safety. And, we're using sharp objects on dogs, and I'm not going to sit there and pull and yank on a matted dog. And that's something that, I teach them, it might not look what the owner wants. And I'm also very transparent with the owner. That's great. That's a goal we can get to, but today that's not happening. Sorry.
Then we had Clarence Darkwa and Johnny Robinson on the show. And so Johnny and Clarence and I, we all used to work together. And Clarence, his family moved here from Ghana, and his brother went on to be in the NFL. And, Clarence talked about how tough it was because his family left him in Ghana when they moved to the United States. And so he lived there, and kind of what the challenges were there living with family. Then when he moved here, he expected to kind of be welcomed back in as the number one son, and they already had a life here, and there was a brother, and he was the number one son, and just the tough things that he went through, and at the same time how it made him resilient, and how he's growing Fiore vodka into this wonderful brand, and the hot spots where it's already very popular, like St. Thomas is a wonderful place, and they love Fiore vodka there, and just some of the other things that they're working on and doing. And Johnny Robinson's just a rock star guy, so for them to be working together, I know it's going to be successful. And just great guys. Check out that episode, check out the resilience, and you're probably going to learn something.
And so, and to be honest, it was good, but it wasn't great, right? And for me to come on board, honestly, that was one of the first things. I was like, dude, it'd be hard to sell just an okay product, but it's easy to sell a great product.
Yeah.
And so when, it's like a staple in my house, and several other people that we know, is because it's just a really good product and going through all of that. So again, like the product that he has now, I think he truly understood that it was great when you start winning awards like 97 points on taste and flavor.
Yeah.
Right. Something like that. Like, that's not us saying it's good. That's the award show saying it's good.
That's right.
When you're winning gold at several of the award shows, right? That's what set it apart. And then you see all these other people who have, something like a hemp product, and they're not even winning those gold standards and high level of praise from the award show. So again, I think it goes back to the testament and the hard work that he was putting in to make sure that he had a quality product.
I love that. It's as much as I love the product and I know I have a good product, it's not the product that drives me. It's the challenge of being able to walk into a store and say, I'm right there amongst those that are, that are sitting on the shelf. It's the beauty of the process. It's opening up a new market, having that person that's standing in front of me, loving it so much and doing, that's what it drives me. So I would say, if you're going to do something, find the part that drives you and just go for it.
Yeah.
That's as much effort as you get up in the morning, take a shower. Hopefully you take a shower in the morning and do what you have to do. Use that same thing to drive you, and just understand that those challenges, those road bumps are going to happen, but I'm willing to go over them. And the feeling that you get afterwards is what you're chasing. And I love it. I love it. I mean, just going back at like 2020, when I lost the scooter business with the tornado and the party bus shut down, and I brought the scooter business back, and then it got stolen again, and I brought it again, and it got stolen again. I haven't quit. We actually about to launch it next week at Marathon Music Works. We're going to have our scooter business there. So if you're ever in Nashville and want to ride some mopeds and stuff like that, Dash Scooters is out there.
I will say the next episode was a tough one. So that was with Tim Leeper of Tim Leeper Roofing, and he's making some big changes in kind of how the corrections facilities are doing business. And the reason for that is private prisons in Tennessee have overstayed their welcome. And the reason I say that is they account for an absurdly large amount of the deaths that happen in Tennessee prisons. In fact, I think it was over 60% of all the deaths were in just 4 private prisons of the, I think, 13 or 14 total prisons. So think about that. Of, say, 13 or 14, over 60% of the deaths come from just 4. It's absurd. And so they have signed into law some legislation that will hopefully put some more stricter or some boundaries around that. But even that's not enough. We absolutely need change in that regard. And he lost his son. His son was in prison, and he had to bury his son. And just some of the things that go on just should not be. And it's kind of the idea that not every prison sentence should be a life sentence, where too often it is, especially in private prisons. So check out that. He also has a mission and a nonprofit called Kylan's Light, Kylan, Kylan's Light, and that was his son's name. And just an amazing mission. So Tim, keep going, keep doing great work out there, and we're cheering you on, brother.
And the way that we treat people should have changed and improved along the way. And so we still have an archaic system that needs to be revised. It needs to be overhauled. Now, can I say that there are good things about the system? Of course I can. And I don't think we need to throw the baby out with the bathwater. But we need to have an honest assessment of what we're doing to how we're doing incarceration in our state and how we're doing rehabilitative opportunities. What are we doing to help the people that get out? And that's not to even, back to your point, that doesn't even speak to the number of people that are innocent in our prison system, because they happen more than you realize.
The next episode was James and Melissa Smith of Driving with Melissa. And James is a great guy. Melissa is just a fantastic lady, and they have a passion for cars. And just through some of my friends and through some of my clients, I'm kind of in that world a little bit. And James and Melissa have a great story, and some of the things that I took from their story that I think you should, or reasons you should go back and look at that, is they talked about how, these days some people are kind of jealous and they say, oh, well, it must be nice to have that big house, or it must be nice to have those luxury cars. And James is like, it is, but you're just looking at the end result of 30, 40 years of hard work. So they met in kind of like post high school, and they got married, and they moved to Nashville instead of going to their reception. Like, they had to be at work the next day in Nashville. So they moved from Huntsville area up to Nashville instead of going to their reception, and started their jobs. They both made $5 an hour back then. We're talking about 1987, 1988. And James started work at the company that he now owns, making $5 an hour. And it's about, he was working his way up, and he'd go to school, he'd learn a new skill. He just did not take anything for granted and kept working. And so did Melissa. And so they've built this amazing life together. They've got an amazing daughter, and just now they can play a little bit. And so they have this channel called Driving with Melissa. You should absolutely check it out. They're known as the Jag people because they've got 3 really limited production Jaguars that are absolutely fantastic. But they are car people, and they love car culture. And it's just, they're great to be around. They're just fun people. But James is also very excited about the things they're doing at work. He and a partner own American Heating and Air. And he's like, a lot of what I do, a lot of the people I work with are people in car culture. He's like, so it's this, I'm glad to show up to work every day. I'm excited to show up and lead people in our company. And so it's great to see them passionate about what they do still. And this guy's been working in this job since 1988. Started at $5 an hour. Now he is an owner in the company. And they've got it all planned out. Like, they've got the succession plan and all those things already laid out. They're very forward thinkers, but they're just great people to be around. You should absolutely check out that episode with James and Melissa Smith.
And so I started. Now this is where all this gets twisted. It's Driving with Melissa. That's what it's called. And my intent when I said I was going to do this with Melissa, I said, what do I call it if all we're doing is basically I'm out driving with Melissa all day long? So I called it Driving with Melissa. It's not Melissa driving, although Melissa has driven everything but the 06, right?
Right.
So she does drive, and she does drive the sports cars. Her daily's a F-Pace SVR, a 550 horsepower SUV. But it's more about our experiences together driving.
Right.
And it has kind of evolved into, like, we have a condo in Cabo, so we'll do a week in Cabo. If that's where we're at, that's where the content comes from. Sometimes she'll do like clothing try-ons and things like that, and if that's what it happens to be, that's what it is. If we were in Moda, Miami a month ago, well, then that's what it is.
Elmer Richardson and my dad. So this was the 3rd time my dad was on the show, and Elmer is an interesting case. Elmer is looking to sue the county and the VSO over the gross misconduct in regard to his VA claim. So Elmer is filing his VA claim. My dad helps him kind of sift through what was done right, what was done wrong, dot all the I's and cross the T's, and even goes with him to submit it. They go to the VSO office there in Cheatham County, and the VSO reluctantly takes his claim, then sits on it for over 5.5 months, does not submit it until 5 days after his intent to file is up. So that cost Elmer an entire year of back pay. So not only did she delay it, she delayed it in what seems like intentionally and maliciously until after his time ran out. That easily cost him somewhere between $20,000 and $50,000. Also, she did not submit the whole claim. And there's some email back and forth acknowledging that she understood the entire claim, which is really dirty. It's also about, some people there trying to cover it up. So that's probably going to be a lawsuit, but it's just great to see my dad absolutely out there still helping veterans and making a difference. And so I would challenge you, are you making a difference? Or what you're doing today helping somebody? It's great to see my dad helping other people.
We'll see how far they make it in court.
Yeah.
We warned them.
Yes, we did.
Now, I went to that office one day prior to Elmer ever going up. And I told the service officer, the director of the Cheatham County Service Officer, I said, things are not going just right. I said, you're not filing claims, especially for 100% veterans.
Which seems very targeted to your USVA group.
Well, in that the United States Veterans Alliance is the largest veterans organization in Cheatham County. Mm-hmm. It's the most active in Cheatham County. Mm-hmm. It's the most knowledgeable in Cheatham County. We're 99%, 100% veterans or better up into the letter awards.
The next episode was with Grant Burrow. So Grant and his lovely wife, Susan, they run a Primrose locations, a Primrose school in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. And I worked with Grant for a few years, and he's an interesting character in that, he came from a background with two educators. Now he's in education. And I got to tell you, he is absolutely where he is supposed to be. I worked with him. He was our CFO, and don't get me wrong, he was great at that, but he is a different person. He is a different person working in that school, making a difference, coaching and helping mold young minds. It's just great to see. His face lights up. They're so passionate about that school, and it shows because they actually just spoke at the national convention for Primrose schools across the nation, and you don't do that on accident. It's because of a couple things. One, what a great program they have, but two, it's also about them able to retain top talent. Some of their people have been with them 13, 14, 15 years, and you do that because you care about people. And so it's great to see them thriving and doing what they're meant to do. And Blaine, their son, is now working in the business with them. So now it's a family business, and it's just an inspiring story. And his dad was in the NBA. His brother played for Vanderbilt. Grant played college ball. They're just great people. So check out that episode. It was a lot of fun. Well, and having worked with you at a company, and then obviously I don't work with you in this industry, but at the same time we still talk, and we still use some video communication, and you just look happier.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, we were in the wireless industry. We did well. I mean, we did a good job. We had fun with it. It changed a lot over the years, but we did well. And the tension grew year by year by year. And as we got bigger and bigger and bigger, I think we ended up 58 stores in different states all scattered around, and 200 plus employees. The bigger you get, the more you have on your shoulders. Yeah. And so doing this, just seeing children and molding children, having them learn the things they want to learn, and we test them quarterly to see where they are once they're a little older, and if they're not there, then working to get them there and seeing them advance in so many ways. And then I get to be a big kid. I get to be outside and teach them, how to swing a whip. You can't do anything crazy with a bat or anything, but we'll have a wiffle ball or football or basketball, and we teach them all the sports, which a lot of the dads like, because in a lot of the child cares, there's not men. And so me being there and getting on the playground and working with them on that, it's fantastic. And it puts a smile on my face every day.
Then we had a couple episodes, and we've got a couple more episodes coming out that are really tied to health. And so we had Zaid Morgan, and we had Dr. Mike come on and do a couple of episodes. Dr. Mike Meehan is my favorite doctor. He's in regenerative medicine. He kind of pointed me on the path of getting my knees fixed with stem cell therapy and a few other things in regenerative medicine. So check out that episode of how Dr. Mike and I met and kind of what his path was. And then Zaid Morgan was another former special operator in the military, and his body was beaten and bruised. And then from a mental health standpoint, he was having some challenges connecting with his family. And so he met Dr. Mike, and they did the spira ganglia therapy, and what amazing results that they've gotten. And now Zaid is working with a couple of different companies in order to help veterans and some foundations. Dr. Mike works with some foundations. They're doing things to help our veterans and our first responders kind of deal with PTSD and some things that are in that space. And just, again, amazing group of people.
So past 2 years, I've been working with a foundation that would send us Special Forces military folks and their spouses or significant others. And basically what we would do is, do a pretty robust lab and or assessment before they came down, kind of getting ideas and thoughts about what their main challenges were, what some of their main difficulties were, but also, some of the things that they felt like they had dialed in, and then trying to help enhance their overall metabolic health.
And William Arnold is, we go back a ways. William was a employee of mine and then friend of mine, and he was wrongly accused and then convicted of a crime that he did not commit, and served almost 7 years. Yes, you heard me correctly. 7 years for a crime he did not commit. And then it was overturned because of the gross misconduct by the DA that was handling his case. But because she's now a judge, she's kind of untouchable. And so it's a really ugly story. But it is inspiring because he never lost hope, and a lot of people would have lost hope. His grandmother didn't lose hope either. In fact, she told him that he was going to get out, and it's just a tough pill to swallow. But I want you to understand that I would encourage everybody to watch that episode, because you think that couldn't happen to you. And I knew William, and I knew there was no way that he was guilty of this crazy crime. And yet he was still convicted because of some errors and because of some issues inside our judicial system and some bad actors. And it's a shame that bad actor, specifically that main bad actor, the DA, is not being held accountable. But it just goes to show you that you got to bring your A game. In fact, he shared that one of the regrets that he had is he thought there's no way I'm going to be convicted of this crime that I didn't commit. So he had a little bit of arrogance about him. He had a little bit of like, hey, I didn't do it, so nothing to worry about. Until literally he was expecting to go back home and went to prison instead. And so I would encourage you to watch that show, watch that episode, and take from it what you will, but it's a powerful story.
July 12th, 2013. I'll never forget it. I just had a 5-day trial. It was a Friday. Started out, went to the YMCA that morning downtown where I worked out. Just knew I was going home that evening. Trying at about 4 o'clock, and the jury deliberated for about 7.5 hours. And then about 11:30 that night, they came back with guilty on 4 of 6 charges. I was instantly handcuffed, taken into custody. So my car was still sitting there with my sweaty clothes in it. My desk at work was the same, home. So it wasn't about getting my affairs in order. I was instantly taken into custody and then sentenced to 25 years in prison at 100%, no chance of parole.
That's insanity. last but not least, we have Miss Rhiannon Hyder. And so how fitting it is that we have Rhiannon as our last episode of the year and rounding out that first year of episodes when she's the first person that I met in this studio. Rhiannon is just a fantastic person. She's raising a great family with Nick, and she's kind of the rock. She's the rock in that family. Nick is kind of the free spirit, and absolutely he's going after it. But you've got Rhiannon, kind of calm, cool, and collected. She does great business. She helps a lot of people with their insurance needs. In fact, if you need insurance, you guys should absolutely call her. But she's a joy to be around, and it's just great seeing them do great things. I'm grateful that they're in my world.
She went to this company because it was cheaper, even though I showed her all the things. One of their biggest things is that company has no look back period. So that means that they can go back into your medical claims. It's 20 years ago. If you told a doctor 10 years ago that you smoked cigarettes and you're diagnosed 10 years later with mouth cancer, this happened to this client, they will not cover that claim. And that is one of the biggest reasons. And she called me, very upset. And, I'm trying to still help her, kind of advise her what she should do moving forward. And that's why I'm so passionate about when people say, oh, I went with this company. I'm like, well, just remember, here are the things, because, hopefully nothing happens and you don't have to use it. Sure. But if you do, I guarantee they're going to call me and say, you're right. It's like, and I don't want to be right. I want you just to do right on the front end. So,
yeah. Well, some things to be looking forward to kicking off season 2. I have my lovely wife and my son coming in, and you get to spend some time with them and see their episodes. And every single guest I take something away from. Every single guest, I am a better person because I know them. I'm a better person because we've shared. I'm a better person because of the things that we've uncovered that maybe you can use in your life. And so I'm super excited about the coming episodes. I'm super excited about the things that are on the horizon, and I'm excited about life. As I've told you many times, I'm incredibly grateful to be here with you on the Charge Forward podcast, coming to you from Hit Lab Studios here in Nashville, Tennessee. I'm incredibly grateful to our sponsors, Hit Lab Studios, Sense Development, Charge Forward Solutions, Find a Way with Rose, and so many others. Thank you so much, and until next time, I'm Jim Cripps. We'll see you later. Team, is Jim Cripps here with the Charge Forward podcast. I just want to tell you I love you. I appreciate you listening. I appreciate you for subscribing and sharing the Charge Forward podcast with people you know and you love, because that's what we're here for. We are here to share the amazing stories, the things that people have been through, the ways that they were able to improve their life, so that you can take little nuggets from theirs and help improve your story and be better tomorrow than you were today. I hope that this is the tool you needed at the right time, and that you find value in the amazing guests that we bring each and every week. Thanks so much, and don't forget, new episodes drop every Thursday.